Welcome to Western Mass News Digital Edition. I'm Chris Pisano, and we begin today with developing news out of Springfield. A pedestrian's in the hospital with serious injuries after being struck by a car on Page Boulevard last night. According to police, a woman was walking on the sidewalk of Page Boulevard Thursday night just before 9 p.m. She then stepped off the curb and into the path of an oncoming car. The woman rushed to Bay State Medical Center with serious injuries. The driver, meantime, remained at the scene and is cooperating with police. The crash is still under investigation. The Berkshire DA held a press conference in Pittsfield today in regards to the police-involved shooting out of Hinsdale earlier this week. According to DA Timothy Shagru, the man who was killed Wednesday is 27-year-old Biagio Cavil of New York. Shagru says Cavil had been expressing paranoid and delusional thoughts. At around 10 Wednesday evening, Hinsdale police responded to 53 off South Street as several 911 calls were made by Cavil. After trying to reason with him, officers decided to break into a first-floor bedroom. A struggle ensued with Cavil, who was holding a gun. During that struggle, the gun went off. Hinsdale Police Chief Sean Boyne was released from the hospital later that day, while Sergeant Krupe is still undergoing treatment. Family and friends of Stephen Laporta paid their final respects to honor the fallen Uxbridge police officer killed in the line of duty. Now, this is video as the officer, or rather as officials got ready to transport Officer Laporta to the Westfield office of the chief medical examiner. The procession then ended at the Uxbridge Police Department. Officer Laporta's family is proceeding with final arrangements later this week. Meantime, the community stepping up for them in their time of need. The Greg Hill Foundation will be matching all donations up to $20,000 in support of the Laporta family. If you are able to donate to the fund, a link can be found on our website, westernmassnews.com. Across the border now to Middletown, Connecticut, a state trooper fired after having an alleged inappropriate relationship with a high school student. Law enforcement records show 39-year-old trooper, first class, Timothy Heroian, was being investigated for his relationship with a 17-year-old at the school where he worked as a resource officer. The complaint was filed last January after his wife suspected he was having an affair with a student. Connecticut State Police say he was fired on December 30th. A Greenfield man facing several charges accused of breaking into the same Plymouth County business twice in 1 week. 22-year-old Anthony Cruz turned himself into police yesterday, charged with 3 counts of breaking and entering with intent to commit a felony and 2 counts of larceny from a building. Cruz's car matched the description of the suspect's car. Whitman police say a coffee shop was broken into last week with the cash stolen from the register. The investigation found Cruz did the same thing on the 7th, stealing more cash before supposedly trying to break into a gas station.
All right, time right now is 3:36 on your Friday. We made it to the weekend. We're not another nice day today, wasn't it? I know the clouds have rolled in the last hour or two, but temperatures back into the 40s, and we are tracking a few showers as we head into the evening. And they're in and they're out. They're not going to be around long, so if you have Friday night plans, you might get a little wet over the next couple of hours, but that's about it. And temperatures will coast back. We're going to stay in the 40s for several hours, so it's not like things are going to ice over just like that, although there could be a couple of icy spots later on. Your Saturday is dry most of the day. We get back into the 40s. We'll start with a little sun, kind of similar to today, and then after 4 o'clock-ish, that time frame, that's when some steady rains may move in, at least for a few hours tomorrow night. And there could be a little freezing rain across the hills and north of Route 2, but we're not expecting any major issues here. Most of us, it's just plain rain, and even in the hill towns, I think it'll be fleeting, just maybe a few icy spots, and then mainly dry and blustery as we go into your Sunday, I should say. 47 right now in Springfield. That wind kicking in out of the south at 13 miles per hour, bringing in those mild temperatures. But as you can see, we have gone overcast now. A couple of showers and sprinkles across Franklin County. We do have some showers across Berkshire County, and this is all going to make its way through the valley over the next couple of hours. Here's your 24. Notice the showers. Still that shower chance off and on up to about 7 o'clock-ish, and then it's out. then some partial clearing. But even tonight, temperatures only fall to around freezing by tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow we start with some sunshine. The clouds increase in the afternoon. This brings us to around 3 or 4 o'clock. We're still dry. If you have Saturday night plans, that's when we could see some of that rainfall beginning to move on in. So we have a cold front that's pushing through, but behind it, the air not that cool. We're just going to dry things out. By morning, we are down in the upper 20s and lower 30s. 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, still some sunshine. Even at 3 o'clock, we're still dry. Then here comes that rain, starts to overspread the area. Snow, New Hampshire and Vermont, a little bit of a wintry mix up along Route 2 for a couple of hours. And then some showers might linger overnight Saturday night, but they should be out early Sunday morning. Then we're starting to see some clearing, blustery as we go into Sunday. Then the colder air will work in on Monday. Highs still Sunday coming up into the 40s. Mid-40s tomorrow, lower 40s Sunday, and then more seasonable on Monday. It's going to feel more like January with temperatures in the mid-30s. We'll likely pick up maybe a 1/10 of an inch of rain tonight, and then maybe a couple of 1/10 of an inch of rain as we go into tomorrow night. And yes, we could see some icy spots for those of us in the hills tomorrow evening. Blandford, Worthington. Notice how it's not a whole lot, but it doesn't take much in terms of freezing rain to create some issues. So keep that in mind if you're traveling about the hills tomorrow night or up along Route 2. Certainly if your travels take you into Vermont, New Hampshire, they're going to be picking up some snowfall. Highs tomorrow come up into the mid-40s. Highs on Sunday in the lower 40s. Blustery as that wind swings around into the northwest, bringing in those colder temperatures. There's a look at your weekend. And your Monday, it's cold. I mean, seasonably so. Temps in the mid-30s. Tuesday, though, and Wednesday, we bounce right back. Front goes through Wednesday with a snow shower, rain shower, and then it does turn colder starting late Wednesday, going into Thursday and Friday. We're back into the 20s for highs with gusty breezes, and then there may be some snow chances about a week from now. So that's something we'll be watching as we head towards the long holiday Martin Luther King weekend, which is, coming up. Not this weekend, but following. All right, that's your forecast. Chris, back over to you.
All right, Dan, thanks. The 83rd Golden Globe Awards are set for Sunday. One battle after another. The lead movie contender with 9 nominations. That stars Leonardo DiCaprio. The film's sentimental value and Sinners also have numerous nominations. As for TV, The White Lotus and Adolescence are up for the most honors. The awards, they're airing 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS and streaming on Paramount+. And that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching today's Western Mass News Digital Edition. And be sure to tune in to Western Mass News at 4 coming up soon on ABC 40. Have a great day.